Sisterhood podcast. We are your hosts, Maddie and Kate, and we are here to chat about all things motherhood, faith-infused entrepreneurship, and lots of real life.
We want you to leave feeling loved, encouraged, and a whole bunch of excitement for where the Lord has you right in this moment. We are so glad you are here.
So grab your coffee, matcha, tea, whatever makes you happy, and let's hang out and indulge in some joyful conversations. What is up, friends? Welcome to the Refined Sisterhood podcast. Maddie and Kate here, ready to talk about some really fun topics. Today is big. We're going to talk about something really important to us. But first, Maddie, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a new year, and I got a lot of rest last night, so that's always a plus.
Yes.
And I'm actually, my mom has Keegan today, so, which is weird, but I feel like I can do a lot of things today.
Freedom.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. Also, I mean, Beckett's here, and we're both taking care of him. That's fun.
I can't believe you're not tired.
But
you just got back from New York.
I know, yeah.
I can't believe you're not like,
yeah.
I'm too tired.
No, I'm good. I'm good. This morning I was like, oh, am I going to be able to get out of bed? But I'm good now. We're good. It's a good day.
We're here. Yes.
All right. So, like I said, today we're talking about something super important, and that is friendship. We are going to discuss a little bit about how we kind of became friends, and we're going to talk to you about pursuing real Christ-filled friendships, which we truly believe wholeheartedly in. And honestly, it's going to be really good. And so we're going to dive right in, and we're going to talk about how me and Maddie became friends, which is actually a funny story because the first time I ever met Maddie, she walked up to me in the college cafeteria and went, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "Oh, hi." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so full of energy. What in the world?"
Yeah, if you knew me in college compared to now, I've had a major personality change. Because I'm not like that. And even Caitlin saying that now, I'm like cringing because I'm not that person anymore.
She was like, "I've been waiting to meet you for so long. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh."
Yeah, the look on her face was probably like, dear goodness, maybe your level of energy needs to come down a lot. But that leads into how we met. And the reason I even went up to her in the cafeteria and introduced myself was because she was dating one of my best friends and someone that I've grown up with for my whole life, which is now her husband, Hunter.
Yeah.
And so I have known her husband since we were 5, and my husband actually is best friends with her husband, but me and Sean were not dating at the time, but still I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet Caitlin. And so I went up to her and introduced myself in a very obnoxious way. I can't believe she still likes me and wants to be friends with me, but it's fine. And so from there, we just became like really good friends. And then I started dating my husband, Sean. And we got to go on a lot of double dates. And because Hunter and Sean are best friends, so which made Caitlin and I forced to be best friends.
Yeah,
I feel like,
basically.
Right? Like, you're always together, so it's like you're stuck for life. And that's how it kind of came about. And our friendship has changed so much. We've been through like healthy seasons of our friendship, not so healthy seasons of our friendship.
Yes.
Which is even funny to look back on. Specifically, I'm thinking of one instance like in college and like just
Lord
looking
have
back
mercy
to that situation of our friendship to like where we are now. And it's so hilarious because like that would never happen anymore. But our friendship has evolved as we have evolved, and
absolutely
we've gotten so much closer than even when we first met and when we were in college. And our friendship, like I said, has evolved to how we are as people now, and we get to do life together. Literally, we walked through every single season of life together.
Yes.
We were pregnant at the same time. We had babies like a few months apart, and we've just gotten to do life together, which has been awesome.
Yeah, it's been super, super fun. It's funny because me and Maddie actually figured this out probably like 2 years into our friendship, that our friendship was definitely something that the Lord like put into our lives. And I had prayed for so long about having a friend who I could like, that was the foundation was just truly on the Lord. And even though, like she said, we've been through different seasons and we'll talk a little bit about that. It's ultimately always been founded on the Lord. And I'm so thankful for that. And she's been the friend that I've needed in so many seasons. And I literally don't know how I would have gotten through like the last 5-ish, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know how long it's been. But anyways,
a long time.
Since 2014.
Yes.
So anyways, we want to talk to you about our friendship and just how we've learned and grown over the years. And so first, we just want to talk about the benefits of Christ-filled friendship. And there are so many. Like I said, Maddie is my best friend. Literally the person I'm closest to. Other than Hunter. I talk to her about things I don't even talk to Hunter about.
Hunter and I are at competition. It's fine.
So there are so many benefits, but one of those benefits is grace. And the many seasons that we've been through, Maddie and I have shown each other so much grace and taught each other so much grace. And it's been such a blessing to be able to have a friend who, in the hard times and when things are rough and when like I haven't been the best friend to her or she hasn't been the best friend to me, there's been grace in that season of life. And I'm really, really thankful for that being one of the benefits.
Yeah, for sure. And specifically like that grace, you know, sometimes we're human and we're not always going to be the best version of ourselves. And I think a lot of times our flesh can show itself, and just being able to like offer that grace where this is weird, but it's kind of like a marriage, right? Like you unconditionally like love that person, and like Caitlin could say something that might hurt my feelings, or I could say something that might hurt her feelings, but it's not like, oh, bye, you're out of my life, or something like that. Like there's so much grace that we have to offer each other because we know like we just unconditionally love each other. And so like another benefit of a Christ-filled friendship is we get to hold each other accountable. And sometimes it's not easy. And sometimes we have to say things that, you know, probably like if you were a surface level friend, I probably wouldn't say to you.
No.
Because I just don't want to hurt your feelings or anything like that. But just holding someone accountable and being like, yeah, you said you were going to do this. Like, did you do it? Whether that's, you know, in this business or just life in general, or like, how is your relationship with the Lord? Like holding, or if I say, there was something, what was it, last year when I was like getting so overwhelmed with like work and stuff, and you kept saying like, be present, Maddie, be present, because that was my word for last year. And she kept like bringing me back to that and like holding me accountable and not trying to get, you know, so overwhelmed, and instead just being very present in that moment. And that was all because she was holding me accountable, because I brought it to her attention of like what I wanted for my year and stuff like that. And she held me accountable. So
yeah, accountability is definitely a big benefit. I enjoy being able to have like a built-in accountability partner. And especially in my walk with Christ, like Maddie's constantly holding me accountable, and we both are, just by giving each other or telling each other like what we're reading in the word, or like how we're growing. And because a lot of times we're going through the same season, and it helps hold each other accountable. Like sometimes I'll just be like, Maddie, how you doing with the Lord? Have you been in your Bible? Like what's going on? And that's when, like, if she says, oh, well, I mean, I'm kind of crap right now, like I haven't really had time or whatever, that's when that grace comes in. But also the accountability comes in, and you get to like I get to love you more. Yeah. And show you like, you know, it's okay. And that brings me to the next one, is never questioning or wondering if you're enough. Because having a friend founded on the Lord is such a blessing when it comes to just the love poured out to each other. And you literally, I could come to you and say like the worst thing that I did, and you would be like, you know, like you hold me accountable and you would show me grace, but you would encourage the crap out of me. And like that is one thing that it's so nice to have in a friendship, because I've had friendships where it's not like that. It's more like, oh, I'm better than you because, or like it's someone's constantly like putting you down in a friendship instead of like building you up. And it's nice to have a Christ-filled friendship where you always feel like you are enough, and you're reminded of that because you have someone encouraging you.
Yeah. And the other side of the coin to that is Caitlin and I, we like, we're both Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 3. She's an Enneagram 2. And my wing's a 2. Is your wing a 3?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So we're like the same person, right? And so we, at the end of the day, like we really want, I know we've talked about this before of you feeling like you didn't text someone enough or encourage someone enough that like that specific day or something like that. And for us, I feel like I'm never thinking like, oh my gosh, is Caitlin mad at me? She hasn't texted me today. Like, it's not that type of friendship.
No.
It's like, I know Caitlin has stuff going on. She's busy and I do too. And I don't ever have to question of like, oh my gosh, is she upset with me? Like,
no.
Or she hasn't texted me and encouraged me today. Like, she must hate me. Like, it's nothing like that. And so we don't ever have to like question, are we enough in this friendship or are we loving each other enough in this friendship?
Yeah.
Because it's just like what we do naturally.
And it's funny because a lot of times when you're not texting me, I'm definitely not thinking, oh, she's mad at me. I'm thinking,
Darn.
why ain't that girl texting me back? She's getting on my nerves. Oh my gosh, like what could she possibly be doing that's more important than me?
I know.
Only taking care of her child. It's fine.
I know. And Caitlin and I have each other's location. So if she's like not texting me back, I'm like, is she alive? Are we good? And she's probably like, dear God, Maddie, you're crazy for even doing that. But I really did. Like, I do it all the time. I'm like, is she okay? Like, does she need something?
Maddie will be like, I'll get with her in person. She'll be like, oh, it's fine. I checked your location. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, you probably don't even look at it.
No, I don't think anything about I don't know what it is, but I never have thought anything about it. What was it like 2 years ago? Me, you, and our other friend, Courtney, we all were like, hey, let's share our locations with each other. And I was like, what?
Yes. Why did we do that? But I
fine.
actually love having your location.
Yeah, I think I've looked at it once. So once out of 2 years.
Yes.
But anyways, and then not last, but one of our other favorite benefits to having a healthy friendship in Christ is authenticity. And that's when, you can just be real with somebody and it doesn't have to be a mean real. Like you sometimes have those friends that they're just blunt and they're mean and rude and like not that kind of authentic. It's more of an authentic, like going to each other and being like, hey, I am really flipping struggling. Can you please pray for me? And like pouring out your heart to your friend who you know is going to walk through this season with you, no matter if you're, I don't know, if you're sad or if you're happy or excited or whatever it is, like, you know that you can be honest with that person. And that's such a blessing.
Yeah, for sure. There's been a lot of times where you've had to, I've had to like come to you and say like, I really am struggling, specifically a lot in 2020. Like I had a really hard year, as did a lot of people. But I went through a lot of things that I never had to go through until 2020. And there was a lot of me just having to be very real, and it didn't look perfect on the outside, but I could be very authentic to you. And I wasn't like, oh my gosh, what's she going to think about me? Like, it was never like that. And so I so appreciate that in a Christ-filled friendship, all these things. And there's so many more, that we're not listing, but I want to move into, there's been some hard times in our friendship. And
all these benefits are great.
Yeah.
But it didn't always start out that way either.
Right. And there's been times, like I said earlier, where like our flesh came out and we had to experience kind of the ugly sides of ourselves, and which poured out into our friendship, which thank the Lord, back to the whole thing of this Christ-filled friendship.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord for that, because if not, a lot of these things, could have really ruined our friendship.
Yeah, we might not be friends right now.
Exactly. If it weren't for the Lord. And back to that grace that we were talking about earlier of being like, I know that was not you, or that wasn't the best version of yourself. And so, I guess we can like talk about, the hard times, maybe some in detail. And the reason we want to talk about this is because we want you to know like our friendship is not perfect, and we are not perfect. We are very flawed individuals, trying to make this whole friendship work. And so there's times where it's not that easy.
So there have been some rocky times in our friendship for sure. One of them being when we kind of have allowed other people to fill our minds with lies of the enemy. And this is really easy, especially just depending on what age, well, probably doesn't even depend on what age you are. You could probably be 35 and there's drama in your life. But I know like back when I was in high school, it was really easy for me to have a friend and then go to another friend and that friend would be talking about that other friend. And like, it was just really easy to have like my mind filled with like lies about other people. And then it's like constant drama, you know, kind of like high school. Well, there have been times in mine and Maddie's friendship where that has happened, unfortunately. And we are past the point of we're not going to say anything bad about those people, but it all comes down to us and what we allowed our minds to listen to and what we allowed to come into our minds, because we both have been guilty. And I don't know, it's just really easy to sometimes let the enemy get to you, and he will use other people to break up your Christ-filled friendships, because those are the ones that are going to thrive. And like, if you really think about it, I'm constantly encouraging Maddie in her walk with Christ. She's constantly encouraging me in my walk with Christ. So why wouldn't he want to send someone else to like break that up so that that's not happening?
Exactly. And there are so many distractions that can happen.
Yeah.
And I remember when, specifically what you're talking about, when all that was going on, if I could like go back and look at my life at that moment and how my relationship with the Lord was, it was not in a place of being healthy.
Yeah.
Because I allowed myself to be influenced in a way of just lies about you, and which then turned into what I believed, and then which turned into me not saying anything, which we're going to talk about that. I didn't communicate well, which turned into me just being like frustrated and mad, and which could have easily like wrecked our friendship, but it didn't.
At the time, I remember, so just so you know, we're talking about a time when Maddie was kind of mad at me. I had no idea, but I went through a super lonely season during the season because she was kind of pushing me out of her life to, I guess, get away from like to kind of not think about it and stuff, like what she was thinking about and everything. So at that time, I was going through a lonely season, and I was like, why is she not talking to me? Like, what's going on? Like, I really didn't know what was going on. I was completely naive to it.
Yeah. And which turned into me thinking that every single thing that Caitlin did, her intentions were bad. And which was so far beyond the truth. It was just, I had allowed Satan, the enemy, to fill my mind instead of being in the Word and filling my mind with good things. I allowed my mind to be filled with bad things, which I'm not saying like, you know, don't talk. Like I learned from my mistake. I didn't want to talk to Caitlin, and which turned into, since I wasn't communicating, she was feeling lonely. And I didn't really know that at the time that she was feeling lonely until it hit rock bottom. And then she was like,
what the heck is wrong with you? I remember I had a part-time job at the time, and I walked out of work and I was like, okay, it's been like 2 months of whatever's going on. There's a cloud over our heads or something. Yeah. And I was like, Maddie, what is going on? Like, you need to tell me what is going on.
Yeah, I know. And so through all of that, we were able to work through it. And, but it wasn't easy, and which leads us into, we went through like a season of competition. This is all like within the same months. Definitely. We've had other instances happen, like I said earlier, like in college, but I feel like this is more tangible for people. Yeah. So we had, during those few months, we went through this season of like competing with one another. So side note, Caitlin and I, we do the same job. Same everything. We're the same person, basically. We have a very similar personalities. Our husbands are very similar. Our lives are pretty, like, very similar. If you know us personally, there's so many times where people are like, y'all are so much alike, it's crazy. And we really are. And so that in of itself, working in the same industry, as in both being photographers, if we are mad at each other, it was like we're doing stuff in spite. You know? Yeah, exactly. And that season of competition was hard. And I will say, during this whole time of me feeling lonely and everything, I let the enemy get the best of me. And
when I look back on it now, it makes me laugh, but also makes me cringe and also makes me mad that I even did this because it was so childish. But there was something that Maddie did in her business. Specifically, she had like a little photo shoot. And I saw it. And in my head,
I'm cringing.
I'm just going to be honest with you. Look, we're here to be real and raw.
We've grown a lot since this. Okay, let's just disclaimer.
In my head, I was like, she didn't invite me to do pictures with her. And I was not copying Maddie at the time, but it's a whole situation. But I went and did my own photo shoot with my friend and wore a similar outfit. And I guess deep down, like I was really lonely and I felt kind of neglected in our friendship. And I think I just like mindlessly went and did the same thing, maybe partly in spite and then partly just because I was sad. And I don't know, there was a lot behind it that I didn't realize until a couple of weeks after, but that majorly offended Maddie because we were just in that season of like competition and it just sucked. Like it really sucks to be like that with your friends.
Yeah, for sure. And looking back on that literally makes me cringe because, like I said, we are not that person.
No.
There are those people anymore. And it was, this leads me into what I was going to say next about how we didn't communicate our feelings well because I remember when you did that, I saw it on Instagram and I was livid. Like, I remember being like, this is so not like her. And in my head, I had believed all these like lies about her. Mm-hmm. And I had already been believing these lies, right? That's one level of this. And then I saw that she did that. And I was like, what in the world is going on with Caitlin? And I was like, this is hitting the wall. Like, how do we fix this? And I remember even saying like, our husbands are best friends. Like, how are we about to handle this situation? Like, this is weird, uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. And so it wasn't until, how did we even, like, I guess you texted me and we're like,
so
what?
I think there was one day, I don't know, we went hiking one day. I knew something was up with you because you didn't want to talk to me about anything.
I forgot about all of this.
And then there was one point when Maddie was at the house. This actually might have been afterward when we were still kind of trying to kind of come out of it. But my husband actually looked at me after Maddie left the house one day. And no, this was during it. And he was like, Caitlin, why, when you and Maddie talk, why are y'all just trying to one up each other every time you have a conversation? And I was like, no, we don't. And he was like, yeah, you do. And I was like, I kind of like thought back on it. And I was like, I guess he's kind of right. And I don't know. I kind of pondered on that for a little while. And then some crap went down, and not with me and Maddie, but just other things in our life that kind of went along with it. And then I don't know. I think there was just a point where it might have been right after I took those pictures that were similar to yours. And I guess I just kind of figured because you had like kind of pushed me away a little bit. And I remember sitting at work and walking out and being like, I have got to talk to her. And so I think I texted you and I was like, what's going on? Or Maddie, what's wrong? Or something like that. And you were just like, I don't remember what you said, but it was something that was off. And I got on Marco Polo and I was like, look, we need to talk, and we need to talk like grown women. We need to have a conversation because your friendship is important to me. And that's when we really communicated, and we probably talked for hours and bawled our eyes out over lies that we had both believed. Mm-hmm. And like, we just couldn't believe that we would believe those things about each other when we were talking. I was like, there were a few things I was like, Maddie, I didn't do that. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I even like looking back on it now, I really can't believe that we allowed ourselves to do that. But that's a really good example of how when Christ is not at the center, and like I said, my relationship with the Lord was not in the best place, or I can look back and say that it was not in the best place at that in that moment, and that bled into our friendship. But yeah, looking back, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that ever again. Ever again. And it was, I'm pretty sure you like texted me or something and you were like, let's figure this out. What is going on? And I did not like confrontation. I had to have a lot of it that year, but like I hated confrontation. I was just like, you know what? I'd rather just
I forced her into
be
it.
freaking awkward right now than have a conversation, because I didn't want to hurt her feelings, even though I realize now that was hurting her feelings more by me not communicating.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, oh, I'm just not going to communicate because I'm just going to freaking lash out and this is not going to be good. But there was so much beauty that came from us communicating, because it was a lot of like her saying like, you know, I did do that in spite, and I'm sorry. And I needed to hear that. I remember being like, I just need to hear an apology. And she did it, and she owned up to it. And that meant so much more to me than her being like, I didn't do that, like a normal friendship would do. Like, I didn't do that. Why are you acting like I did that on purpose? Like, she instantly owned up to whatever she did, and I owned up to whatever I did. And then we try to start like, you know, dissecting the whole conversation and the lies that we had believed. And that really like helped us realize like, oh my gosh, like, why are we acting like we're against each other?
Yeah. Coming to the conversation and humility. I think all of that passive aggressiveness from before, I finally was just like, okay, I need to be humble. And that's something that's really important in Christ-filled friendships is sometimes you have to humble yourself, swallow your pride and say, yeah, I did that and that was wrong. Or yeah, I did that and that offended you. Or if someone comes to you, I've had this happen with other friends, is if someone comes to you and they're like, hey, you hurt my feelings and you had no idea. I've had that happen to me. And my first reaction was, I didn't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? Not to them, but just in my head. And then I think about it and I'm like, I got to be humble because I hurt their feelings. And even though I might not have thought I hurt their feelings, or I might not think that what hurt their feelings was a big deal, like that hurt their feelings. And it's important that I need to apologize. I need to acknowledge that.
No, I agree. There's so much goodness that can come from showing humility. And it showed me so much about Caitlin. One, that I didn't have to ask for an apology, even though she didn't owe me anything. She didn't have to do it. But because of her personality and because...
No, I needed to do it.
Well, it was ridiculous, okay? But because of her personality and because from the very beginning our friendship was founded on the Lord, she was able to humble herself and apologize, and I was able to do the same thing.
Yeah, Maddie definitely did the same thing with like the things that she believed about me and everything. Yeah. Definitely, we both apologized and we both bawled our eyes out talking.
Oh yeah,
about
we cried a lot. Even like I said, looking back on that conversation makes me cringe because I
think it was a turning point in our friendship that really strengthened us, and I don't think that anything. I mean, I'm hoping nothing like that ever happens again, but I don't think anything could ever break our friendship because it survived something that was deeply hurtful for both of us.
And it was deeply hurtful, not for a day, not for a week, but like months. Yeah, months. So anyways, that's some rocky times. And we tell you that to say, like, you know, even if you have a Christ-centered friendship, we are human beings and we can believe lies from the enemy, and we can fail. And sometimes when you are trying so hard, or like I said, we're human beings. So we don't want to hurt each other's feelings, but our flesh can surface itself and show ugly parts of ourselves to each other. And when we're trying to make a Christ-centered friendship work and happen, there's so many things that can get in the way because Satan loves to distract us of how good our friendship is. So we tell you those things to know that it might happen. We hope it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, just remember, come back to the place of our friendship is of the Lord. And this is the enemy. And we're not going to believe these things, but also learn from our mistakes of how we weren't communicating and how you don't have to compete with your friend. And that is one of the beautiful things of having a Christ-filled friendship. So if you're looking for a Christ-filled friendship, some ways that you can like tangibly get that, one of which is something I did for a very, very, very long time. And if you were in my circle at that moment, my family, friends, anybody, you know that I said it to you so many times, I prayed for like community, friends that were of the Lord and not, a lot of my friends, pretty much all my friends were from college. And so I prayed so hard for not surface level friendships, but something deeper and something that someone that could push me in my relationship with the Lord, someone that could push me in life, someone that could do life with me. And so I prayed very, very, very hard about that.
Yep.
And so first thing, I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but I would say is pray about it. Pray.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Pray that the Lord would bless you with friendships that where there's so much goodness that like overflows from that because Christ is at the center of them or of your relationship. Some other things like probably, I mean, here you can find friends here. We have a Facebook page. It's so crazy because when we started, people are friends now. Like when we started,
it's awesome,
and we love seeing that. And so here on the Refined Sisterhood community, this podcast.
Another place you can also find Christ-filled friendships is church.
Yeah.
And I know it can sometimes be hard to put yourself out there at church, especially if you go to a big church. I've had this conversation with a few friends more recently, actually. And they want to get plugged in and they're just like have this fear holding them back. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, I don't know what else, but get plugged in at church and find friends that love the Lord and will encourage you and will be all of those things. They'll show you grace. They'll show you accountability. They'll encourage you and they'll be authentic and they'll be real and they'll be humble in your friendship. Mm-hmm. You can find that at church. And I mean, like I found Maddie in college and I'm really thankful for that. But I also have some amazing church friends that same as me and Maddie have been through some very rocky seasons and good seasons, but because those friendships have been founded on the Lord, I'm the best of friends with some people from church. And it's not going to always be easy to find friends at church because even within church, you can find those friends that they're just they're not who the Lord intends for you to necessarily share your whole heart with. And that's okay. You can have surface level friendships too. You can have those people that you're just acquaintances with and that you love and that y'all talk sometimes. That's totally fine. But it's really important to find someone or two someones that you can really pour your heart out to often because it makes a world of a difference. Like I can't even express to you how important it is because I feel so blessed to have Maddie and some other friends that I do have. It's been incredible to make those friendships.
For sure. So there's so many other places you can find friends that are of the Lord. But we're here and we would love to be your friends.
Yes.
And we would love to connect with you. So if you need a friend that is going to encourage you and love you through every season of life, we are your girls.
Yes. And please DM us. Please message us. Please hang out with us. And please go to our community and find friends on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, like wherever. We want you to be able to connect with people so that you can make friendships, even if they're, sorry, Beckett's here and you can probably hear him, but you can totally make good friends even over the internet.
Yes, for sure. So, wow, we talked about a lot and we are so glad that you got to just kind of listen in on a conversation between two little besties over here. And we hope that we taught you something. I'm glad that we got to share some of the not so fun parts of our friendship.
Yeah, definitely.
In hopes that you can learn from that, but also that, you know, we are not perfect. And yeah, like I said, we would love to connect with you. We launch podcast episodes every Wednesday.
Yes.
And thank you so much for listening and just being here and showing up. We love you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye. We had so much fun getting to hang out with you today, and we hope that you are feeling encouraged, loved, and full of purpose.
If you've enjoyed today's podcast episode, we would absolutely love it if you would write us a review so that we can hear how we encouraged you. And if you haven't subscribed, go do that right now. Also, you can join the sisterhood by finding us on Instagram at The Refined Sisterhood.
Okay, friend, we hope you have the best week, and we will see you in the next episode.